Okay, so I already talked you through all the settings. All right, so I'm all set up out here on the beach. I've found my first composition. I've still got about, let's see, I think I've got about another 20 minutes before actual sunrise is going to happen, but I'm starting to get some really good color in the sky right now. So I think the clouds that I was afraid that were going to be there to block the sunrise have moved north. So I think I'm going to get some good color this morning, which is really nice. I was hoping to get a good sunrise this morning, and then looks like I might just do so. So I'm going to go ahead and show you what I've got on this first composition, and then I'll talk you through what I plan on doing with it. Alright, so I went ahead and put the lead little stopper on there. Again, like I've talked to you before, I always make sure that I focus out there on my subject, which is that rock out there in the ocean. So I put it on auto focus, zoomed in on it, focused to make sure that it was nice tack sharp. Then I made sure that here on the lens that I've switched everything to manual. The VR is off, it's on manual over here. I've also, because with 1/4 of a second shutter speed without the lead little stopper in there, it was calling for 1/4 of a second. So with the lead little stopper, it's calling for about a 15-second exposure. So I did go ahead and get my cable release, so that way that I can hit this once I get it 15 seconds, let it go, and hopefully everything comes out right. Alright, so everything's ready to go. I'm going to go ahead and get this shot and see how it is. 15 seconds. Yeah, I think that's going to look really good. That's awesome right there. Alright, so I got that image done. I think I'm going to go walk the beach, see if I can find another composition. I only had light for a little bit, so it's went behind some clouds. I'm not sure, it'll come back out in a little while, but right now I'm looking at some pretty flat coloring right now. So I'm just going to walk the beach right now, see if I can't find something interesting to put into a composition. So I'll be right back. All right, so I've made my way down the beach. I think I found my second composition. I haven't been out here on this beach in a really long time, but I forgot about this old ruins that are out here. Matter of fact, we're on Scarborough Beach, and I want to say that the ruins are simply called Scarborough Ruins. It's an old, I mean, I would guess, I'm not going to say I know for sure, but I'd guess it's close to 100, if not more than 100-year-old structure that's just right here on the ocean front. And the drainways have created like a little wash that comes out into the ocean. And as I'm looking back towards the ruins that are here on the ocean, it gives a nice reflection in this drainway that leads out into the ocean of the structure itself. I don't have any good color. I mean, it's going to be pretty flat. The sun went behind the clouds over there, so I hope the picture turns out. I mean, it's a decent looking composition. I just don't know if it's going to have any good color to it to give it any, you know, to give it any life. So yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'll turn you around and I'll show you the composition, and then we'll talk through the setup. Okay, so here's the composition right here that I was just talking about. You can see that old structure up there. I've got it. I'm going to have it right simply like it's looking right now on the screen for the Nikon. The only thing I don't like about this composition is, if you can see over here to the left, they've got those drainage tubes or pipes or whatever you want to call them, I forget what they are, coming out, and they're going to be at the left edge of the frame. I could probably bring it in some more, but yeah, that might actually work. If I bring it in a little bit more, it'll cut them off and still not take away too much from the image. So this is my composition. Now I'm just hoping that the sun will start coming through enough to cast some golden color on the stones of that structure. If it does that, I think it's going to turn out to be a really good composition, a really good image. But if it doesn't, it might be just a little bit flat. So I'm going to go ahead now and get the camera ready, and I'll talk you through the settings. Okay, so here we go. F8, 30 seconds, Lee Big Stopper, ISO 100. Absolute magic. So I actually haven't moved very far, but I found another composition. I'm not sure if you remember when we were talking about that drainage that was coming off of that structure down into the ocean. Well, I'm pretty much standing right in it. So I've got the tripod. It's in there pretty good. So I think it's sturdy. I know that normally I'd want to try to have it anchored somehow, but it's stuck in the ground pretty good. I haven't seen it move any, so I'm not worried about my long exposure getting messed up and moving. Yeah, so what it is, it's just this drainage that's going out into the ocean, creating a leading line. There's not a lot of color. It's going to be gray, so I'm actually thinking about putting this into a black and white. I don't normally do a lot of black and whites, but I think I'm going to do that with this one. So it's still got the Lee Big Stopper on there, but I also went ahead and inserted a 0.9 grad neutral density soft edge filter, so I can try to bring back some of the sky, because it was pretty bright when I was trying to get the foreground. When I was trying to get the foreground a little bit more exposed, it was blowing the sky out a little bit, so I went ahead and put that graduated neutral density filter in, and it brought it back a little bit, so it evened it out. So I'm on F8, ISO 100. 30 seconds. Big stopper, 0.9 grad, and absolutely gorgeous. Yeah, I like that. It's gonna turn out really good. It's actually very abstract. I think I'm probably gonna switch it to black and white, but I don't know, it looks kind of cool with the gray and blue color that it's got right now, so I might actually leave it the way it is coming out of the camera. So we'll see once I get into post-production, but here's the image right now. All right, I think I'm gonna pack my gear up, start heading home, get some breakfast, have some more coffee. But again, I always do appreciate you guys coming by and watching my content. I've been getting a lot of feedback. I love all of it. I'm gonna try to incorporate all the positive and positive feedback that I've been getting. So I do appreciate what you guys give me for some, advice, feedback. So keep it up. If you haven't subscribed already, please hit the subscribe button and hit the like button if you do like this content. Give me some comments so I know what I'm doing wrong or what I'm doing right, so I can keep giving you guys some decent content in the future. Yeah, so everybody have a great day, and I'll see you next time. Bye. Okay, so I'm sorry, I lied. I was walking back to the truck. I promised I was gonna leave, but as I walked past the same rock formation that I took the very first image this morning on, the tide is obviously, it's going out. So it's been receding this whole time that I've been down the beach. So as I walked back, it started to reveal an entirely new composition and a new shot. I'm not pointing to it, but it did reveal a new composition that I'm gonna try to capture right now. Completely flat light, so it might be a black and white abstract, but I think it's gonna be a really good image. So let's go ahead and take a look. I'm gonna walk you out to where the camera's at, and I'll show you the setup. Okay, so I don't know if you can tell, as I'm walking out, you can see I was back here this morning, right around this area where I was shooting when the tide was still up. So I couldn't see these rocks here, the ones that are right here, at all. So as I walked back, I saw them. And I just think this is going to be a really good image and a really good composition. What I'm going to try to do is use the lead big stopper and a 0.9 soft grad to get me a good, maybe, I'm hoping about a 10 or 15 second exposure. That way, as these waves come up to these rocks and they recede back into the ocean, it'll start creating some really good swirling, leading lines around these rocks as they go forward. So yeah, so this is the composition that I'm going to work on right now. So let me get everything set up, and I'll turn you back on in a second. Okay, so I've got the camera set up. You can see it behind me. ISO 100 as always. F11 I was getting 1/100th of a second for a shutter speed without any filters on there. So Lee calls for it at 1/100th of a second with the Lee big stopper. It calls for a 10-second exposure. So I took a test image at 10-second exposure without anything else but the Lee big stopper. The foreground where these rocks are at, where I was wanting these rocks to come in, still a little bit too underexposed for what I wanted. So I was going to go up to about 15 seconds for shutter speed. So I took another image. When I did that, the sky got completely blown out. So that's where these graduated neutral density filters come into play. I was able to get the 15-second exposure to bring some more light into the foreground here, so I can show and accent the leading line, which are these rocks going out to that big rock right there. This is pretty much going to be the leading line into the frame. So what it did is it allowed me to give more light down here in the shadows in the foreground. And then when I put in that graduated neutral density filter, it brought back and dropped down some of those highlights so it wasn't completely blown out. Now, like I said, this is more than likely going to be a black and white photo. However, it's got some really interesting color right now. The sun is sitting there behind these clouds right up here. So it's got a really soft, diffused light that is shining down onto the ocean right now, and it's making it just this really nice sea green. Excuse me. And the white foam around these brownish green rocks. So I'm not sure. I'm going to see what it looks like in color. If it's just too flat, I'll go ahead and switch it to a black and white. But yeah, so I only taken the test images without it, and now I put the neutral, soft grad neutral density 0.9 grad filter in there. So let's go ahead and get this image taken care of right now. So final settings, 15 seconds, f11, ISO 100, and that looks really good. Nice, silky, smooth. I'm gonna try a couple of more of these shots to see if I can time it as the water's receding back in. I'm gonna try to time it a little bit better so I can get some different action in the photo itself. But I think the actual image is gonna turn out really good. So I'm gonna take a few more, but once I decide in post-processing which one it is, I'm gonna put the image on the screen right now. Okay, I mean it now. I'm done. I'm gonna head home. Trucks is right behind me in the parking lot anyway, so I ain't got far to walk now. I'm not gonna continue walking down the beach. So I hope you enjoyed today's content. I really enjoyed getting out here this morning. Got up around 5 o'clock, got out here. Really enjoyed it. Great peaceful morning, very low wind. Was able to get the drone up for a couple of flights. So yeah, I think I've walked away with some really good images. So thanks again for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already and hit that like button. Talk to you guys next time.